Obi Wan Kenobi returned to Coruscant with victory in his hands and a frightened boy at his side. The Council expected rules, tests, distance. They expected Anakin Skywalker to be trained like a weapon. Obi-Wan saw something else, someone alone, ripped from his mother, surrounded by strangers who spoke in calm voices but watched him like a storm. Qui-Gon was gone. The promise remained. Obi-Wan knelt in the temple hangar and met Anakin's eyes. "You don't owe them perfection," he said. "You don't owe me anything either except honesty." Anakin didn't understand. Not yet. That night, Obi-Wan did something no Jedi Master was supposed to do. He requested private quarters beyond the usual Padawan dorms, small, quiet, and close to the windows. A place that felt like a home, not a barracks. He filled the space with simple things, warm blankets, a shelf of holobooks, even a battered model starfighter he found in storage. When Anakin entered, he froze. "This is for me?" "For us," Obi-Wan corrected, soft but firm. "If you're staying, you're not staying alone." The words landed harder than any lesson. Anakin's throat tightened. He had been owned by Watto, judged by racers, and praised only when he won. Here, Obi-Wan offered him a place, even if he failed. Days passed. The Council still watched. Masters whispered about danger, about prophecy, about how attachment leads to ruin. Obi-Wan listened, then stepped between their fear and the boy. He trained Anakin in the mornings, walked with him at night, and answered every question, even the ones Jedi hated. "Do I have to stop missing my mom?" Anakin asked once. Obi-Wan didn't lie. "No. Missing her means you loved her. We'll learn how to carry that love without letting it control you." For the first time, Anakin felt his anger slow down like a flame starving for air. But in the high towers of Coruscant, another presence took notice. A kind voice entered the temple halls, praising the boy's talent, asking gentle questions, offering understanding that sounded too easy. And one evening, Anakin saw Chancellor Palpatine waiting near the training courtyard, smiling like he already knew his name. The first time Anakin mentioned the Chancellor, Obi-Wan didn't snap or scold. He watched the boy's face. There was excitement there mixed with hunger, not for power yet, but for being seen. Obi-Wan led him to a quiet balcony high above Coruscant. Speeders glided like bright insects below tiny lives moving in endless noise. "Palpatine is kind," Anakin said. "He listens." "So do predators," Obi-Wan answered calm, not cruel. He let the words sit. "I'm not saying the Chancellor is your enemy. I'm saying you must learn why you want his attention." Anakin frowned. "Because he doesn't look at me like I'm a problem." Obi-Wan nodded. "The Council fears what they can't control. That's their weakness, not yours." He rested a hand on the railing. "Now listen carefully. The Jedi teach that attachment leads to the dark side. They leave out the hard part." Anakin's voice turned small. "What part?" "That love is not the threat. Fear is." Obi-Wan looked him in the eye. "You will miss your mother. You may love people one day. You may want them close. The danger starts when love turns into possession. When you decide the galaxy must obey your fear of losing them." Anakin's breathing slowed. "So I'm allowed to care?" "You're allowed to be human," Obi-Wan said, then softened. "But you must practice letting go of what you cannot control. Not by shutting down, by facing it." Anakin stared into the city lights. "What if I can't?" "Then you tell me," Obi-Wan replied. "Before it becomes a secret. Secrets grow teeth." The boy swallowed hard. "I have nightmares." "I know," Obi-Wan said. "We will face them together, step by step." For weeks, Obi-Wan trained Anakin with more than saber drills. He made him breathe through anger. He made him name his fear out loud. The outbursts became shorter. The apologies came faster. The boy started to trust his own calm. But peace never stayed. One afternoon, A temple messenger found Obi-Wan mid-lesson expression tight.
Master Kenobi Council summons. Immediately.
Obi-Wan felt it like cold water down his spine. He took Anakin's shoulder. Stay here. Anakin looked up.
Am I in trouble?
Obi-Wan didn't answer because the Force suddenly whispered one sharp warning. Palpatine was already inside the temple. Palpatine's visit spread through the temple like a quiet sickness, polite words, calm steps, and eyes that missed nothing. The council greeted him with stiff respect. They told themselves it was politics. They told themselves they were in control. Obi-Wan did not. In the council chamber, Mace Windu spoke first, sharp as a blade. You have made the boy dependent on you, Kenobi. He is not your son. Obi-Wan kept his voice steady. He is not a weapon either. Ki-Adi-Mundi frowned. Attachment clouds judgment. Fear clouds it faster, Obi-Wan answered. He was taken from his mother. He needs guidance, not isolation. Yoda's ears drooped. Unusual. Your path is dangerous. It may become. Obi-Wan felt the room closing in.
Then watch me,
he said.
Hold me accountable, but do not punish him for needing a family.
The council decided their compromise cold and clean. Anakin would train, but under stricter supervision. Extra evaluations. Limited time with Obi-Wan. No unscheduled contact with the Chancellor. When Obi-Wan told Anakin, the boy's face hardened. They don't trust me. They don't understand you, Obi-Wan said. And they don't understand what they are feeding. Anakin's fists tightened. So, what do I do? Obi-Wan took a slow breath like he had taught him. You don't lash out. You don't beg. You stay honest. And if you feel yourself slipping, tell me first. That night, Palpatine accidentally crossed paths with Anakin near the archives. Young Skywalker, he said warmly, I hear you are being restricted. Anakin hesitated, then remembered the balcony lesson. He studied the Chancellor's smile. It looked kind. It also looked hungry. I'm being trained, Anakin said carefully. Palpatine's eyes narrowed, just for a heartbeat. Trained by Kenobi. How fortunate. Few would sacrifice so much for you. Anakin felt the hook praise that wanted something back. He stepped away. Good night, Chancellor. Obi-Wan sensed the shift as soon as Anakin returned, quiet, tense, controlled. He spoke to you, Obi-Wan said. Anakin nodded. He tried. Obi-Wan's stomach sank, because Palpatine would not stop. The next morning, a council guard approached with orders Anakin was being reassigned for special observation. And Obi-Wan saw where they were taking him, toward a sealed wing far from home. The sealed wing did not last. Anakin's nightmares tore through it like blaster fire, loud, hot, and impossible to ignore. He woke, gasping, sweat on his brow, fingers clawing at empty air. In his dream, Shmi screamed. Then the sound cut off, like a door slammed shut. He could feel sand in his mouth. He could smell blood. And every time he reached for her, the Force pushed him back. The council called it fear. They called it attachment. They called it proof. Obi-Wan called it a warning. He arrived at the observation room before dawn and found Anakin sitting on the floor, back against the wall, trying to breathe like he had been taught. The boy's eyes were red, but his voice stayed steady. It's getting worse, Anakin said. She's alive. I know it. Obi-Wan crouched beside him. Tell me everything. Anakin spoke in broken pieces, chains, heat, a shadow moving through a hut. He expected Obi-Wan to correct him, to say, release it, forget it. Instead, Obi-Wan listened until the last word fell apart. When Anakin finished, Obi-Wan did not preach. He made a choice. We're going to Tatooine, he said. Anakin blinked. The council will never allow— I'm not asking them, Obi-Wan replied. His tone was calm, but it carried steel. This isn't about breaking rules for comfort. This is about stopping a wound before it turns septic. Anakin's hands trembled. You'd risk your place? For her? Obi-Wan's jaw tightened. For you. For what you become if no one helps you now. They left quietly, two cloaks moving through sleeping halls. Obi-Wan sent a short message to the council. Anakin is not stable. I am taking responsibility. I will return. No debate. No permission. In hyperspace, Anakin sat rigid in the cockpit, staring at the stars like they were counting down. Obi-Wan stayed nearby, present, silent when needed. Every hour, Anakin's fear rose, then fell, because he was not alone. Tatooine appeared dry and bright, like an old bruise under the suns. They landed near Mos Espa. The air hit Anakin's face and dragged the past out of him. Then a local whispered a name Skywalker and pointed toward the dunes. Obi-Wan felt the Force tighten like a snare closing, because something out there was already waiting for them. Mos Espa smelled like heat and old engines, like Anakin's childhood refusing to stay buried. The whisper about Skywalker led them to a worn traitor who remembered Shmi. Not a location, only rumors. Sold. Freed. Then taken. Anakin's pulse pounded in his ears. Anger tried to rise fast and sharp like it used to. Obi-Wan stepped beside him, not in front. Say it, Obi-Wan murmured. Name what you feel. Fear, Anakin admitted, his jaw clenched. And hate, because I was too far away. Obi-Wan nodded once. Good. Now choose what you do with it. They tracked clues across the dunes. Jawas, moisture farmers, a frightened courier who spoke of Tusken raids. Each answer made the next step clearer, and each step made the Force heavier, like a storm building under the suns. That night, their comm unit crackled, encrypted, official. Chancellor Palpatine's voice filled the small rented room, smooth as silk. Anakin, he said gently. I heard you left the temple. I worried. The council can be unforgiving. Anakin looked at the device, then at Obi-Wan. The old Anakin would have leaned in. This Anakin waited. Palpatine continued, if you ever feel trapped, remember, there are those who appreciate your gifts, those who understand the pain of loss. Obi-Wan leaned closer, quiet, firm. He's not alone, Chancellor. A pause, thin and dangerous. How reassuring, Palpatine replied. Master Kenobi, you are very devoted, but devotion can become weakness. Obi-Wan didn't flinch, only when it turns into control. Anakin swallowed. The words hit him because he could feel it now. Palpatine wasn't offering help. He was offering ownership with a smile. I don't need secrets, Anakin said into the comm. I need the truth. Palpatine's tone stayed warm, but his patience cooled. The truth is, Jedi rules will never save the people you love. Obi-Wan watched Anakin carefully. The truth, Obi-Wan said, is that fear makes promises it can't keep. Anakin shut the channel off, hands shaking, but eyes clear. In the silence, Obi-Wan spoke low. He will keep coming. Anakin nodded. Then, we keep standing. Outside, the wind howled sand, tapping the window like fingers. A local scout arrived at dawn, face pale. I found tracks, he said, fresh, leading into Tusken territory. And Anakin felt Shmi's presence flicker like a candle, about to go out. The Clone Wars did not wait for Anakin Skywalker to grow up, so he grew up in fire. On Geonosis, he fought hard, but he didn't fight wild. Obi-Wan stayed close, guiding him like a steady hand on a shaking blade. When clones fell, Anakin didn't pretend it was normal. He learned their numbers, their habits, their names. He spoke to them before battle, so they knew they were not just parts in a machine. Soon, he became a general. Old Anakin would have rushed first just to prove he could win. This Anakin studied maps, listened to scouts, and used the Force like a warning system instead of a hammer. He moved squads through cover. He rotated tired units out. He set traps for droids instead of charging into them. The results shocked even the council missions ended with fewer body bags. When a Republic convoy was pinned above Ord Mantell, Anakin refused the obvious charge. He used a fake distress call to pull Separatist fighters away, then hit their command ship with a silent boarding team. The convoy escaped. The enemy fleet broke. The clones cheered. Not because he was fearless, because he was careful. Palpatine praised him anyway loudly, publicly. "Skywalker is the future of the Republic," the Chancellor declared. "A hero who does what the Jedi cannot." Anakin heard the bait. Praise that tried to separate him from Obi Wan. He answered with action, not ego. After each victory, he returned to the medbay, checking on the wounded, standing with families of fallen troopers when he could. He carried grief like a weight, not a weapon. But war kept demanding more. As battles spread, Anakin was sent farther from Obi Wan. Different fronts, different fleets, different temptations. The Council watched him like a risk. Palpatine watched him like an investment. Then came the day on Umbara. A new Jedi commander arrived, General Pong Krell, cold-eyed and proud. He took control of Anakin's troops with one order and no respect. He called clones replaceable. He called Anakin soft. Anakin felt anger rise hot, familiar, then he forced it down. "My men are not tools," he said, "and neither am I." Krell smiled, like he'd been waiting for that. "Then disobey me, Skywalker. Show the Council what you really are." That night, Krell issued a brutal command, march the 501st straight into a kill zone at dawn. And Anakin had seconds to decide follow orders, or save his soldiers and ignite a scandal that could destroy him. Padme's danger did not arrive like a battle. It arrived like a whisper. A failed security scan, a poisoned cup swapped at the last second, a droid that lingered too long outside her window. Coruscant kept smiling, but the air around Padme turned sharp like the city itself was holding its breath. Anakin felt it through the force threads of warning pulling at his chest. Old instincts screamed at him to lock her away, to control every door, to strike first. He almost did. Instead, he went to Obi Wan. He found his master in a quiet corridor near the archives. Hands folded, eyes tired from war. Anakin stopped, breathing hard. "I need to tell you something," he said. Obi-Wan's gaze lifted steady. "Then tell me." Anakin swallowed. The secret had lived in him like a hidden blade. "Padme and I were married." Silence heavy, but not cruel. Obi-Wan's face tightened, then softened. "How long?" "Since Geonosis," Anakin admitted. "I was afraid you'd turn away. I was afraid the Council would take her from me." Obi-Wan let out a slow breath. "You should have told me sooner." "I know," Anakin said, voice cracking. "And now she's in danger. I can feel it. Someone is trying to push me, like they want me desperate." Obi-Wan's eyes narrowed. "Palpatine." Anakin flinched at the name. "He keeps saying the Jedi will never understand. He keeps offering ways." Obi-Wan stepped closer. "Listen to me. Love is not your sin. Fear is the weapon they want you to swing." He placed a hand on Anakin's shoulder. "We protect her together, and we do it the right way." They moved fast. Obi-Wan contacted Captain Rex for a quiet clone detail. Anakin warned Padme without revealing everything in public. She didn't panic. She studied Anakin's face and understood the cost of his honesty. "Who is behind it?" she asked. "I don't know yet," Anakin said. "But I'm done being alone." That night, they set a trap in Padme's apartment. Lights low, exits covered, security feeds looped. Obi-Wan waited in the shadows. Anakin stood by the balcony doors. Force senses stretched tight. A soft click, then the window seal began to cut. A thin figure slipped inside, silent, precise, carrying a curved blade that gleamed blue. Obi-Wan's voice dropped to a warning. "Anakin, that's no assassin." Because the intruder's presence in the Force felt familiar, Jedi familiar, the call came like thunder, quiet at first, then everywhere. Anakin was on Coruscant, returning from Umbara's fallout, when the Force tightened around him like a noose. Obi-Wan stood with him in a Republic briefing room, reviewing troop movements, when every clone in the building paused at once. Rex's hand drifted toward his helmet.com. His eyes went blank for half a second, like someone else had stepped inside his mind. Then the words hit the room flat. Final. Execute Order 66. Blasters rose. Obi-Wan moved first fast, clean, and controlled. He slammed the door panel with the Force, sealing the corridor, and pulled Anakin down behind a table as bolts carved the air. "Breathe now," Obi-Wan ordered. Anakin obeyed barely. His heart roared. Rage tried to flood him. He grabbed it, held it, and turned it into focus. "They're being controlled," Anakin said, eyes locked on Rex. "This isn't choice." Rex fired again, hands shaking like he was fighting his own body. "Gee, General, run!" Obi-Wan's face hardened. It's a command in their heads. They couldn't cut it out, not in seconds. Anakin leapt, disarming 2 clones without killing them, snapping rifles, kicking knees, using the Force to slam armor into walls. Obi-Wan flowed beside him, blocking shots, pulling bodies out of the line of fire, refusing the easy slaughter. They broke into the hall. Alarms screamed. Jedi across the temple complex were already dying. Anakin felt its lights going out in the Force. Obi-Wan grabbed his wrist. "We do not fall here. We find who gave the order." Anakin's jaw set. Palpatine. They raced through service tunnels toward a landing pad, smoke rising above the skyline. Behind them, clones flooded the corridors. Ahead, a gunship waited. Engines, hot pilot dead, doors open. Obi-Wan shoved Anakin inside. "Fly." Anakin hesitated, hearing screams through the walls. Then he made the hardest choice. He lifted off, weaving through blaster fire, pulling Obi-Wan away from death. As Coruscant burned below, Obi-Wan stared at the darkening temple spires and spoke one sentence, cold and certain. "Now we end the Sith together."